Hey guys, is it possible to make twice as much money as you're making right now by working fewer hours? Today I want to unpack 5 tried and tested ways for you to earn more money by working less. For today's video, I want to be super practical. I'm going to be using real life examples from my own life, as well as examples I've seen out there in the world that help to bring this idea together. So if you're loving the sound of today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you do me one big favor, which is to hit that subscribe button. When I looked at the analytics on my phone right now, it says here that 52% of people previously were unsubscribed to our channel. And right now that number's come down to 48.1%, but that number is still too high for the value that we put out on our channel. So it would mean the world to me and my incredible wife, Mary, if you please hit that subscribe button, show some love, because the more this channel grows, the more our message gets out there to people out there. And whilst you're there, hey, hit the like button if you're really loving the vibes from this video. Okay, I'm gonna jump straight in and share these 5 ideas. And I'll be looking at my phone now and again because I've made some notes to guide me on this particular one. So the very first point I've got to share with you guys today for how you can earn more by working less is to focus on value instead of time, okay? Now, there are 2 core ideas I really want you to take away, and I'll be showing you on my board in a minute. When you think about money and you think about economics, there are 2 core ideas that I'd love for you to take away. The very first one, looking here, is that I want us to look at the idea of value and time. The very first idea I'd love you to take away is that, and I hope you remember this going forward, is that we get paid for the value that we bring into the marketplace. This here is what drives everything. And the other point, though, related to value, is that it takes time to deliver value. Okay? But there's this misconception in the marketplace, and perhaps this is the way we've been sold, the idea of our earnings, what we've been sold, what we're paid, is that we are paid our income based on time. So for example, you might have someone say, I'm paid, say, £15 or $15 per hour. And that's it. And they pin their whole value, their entire economics, their entire worth around this idea that they are paid by the hour. But the truth is if you don't show up to that work, you don't earn that money. Or if you show up to that work, the only reason you're earning that money is because the marketplace has priced the value that you bring to the world, economic value, at a rate of £15, measured on an hourly basis. But the key thing to take away here is the value is really the core thing that we're getting paid for. And that really then drives the conversation. Is it possible then, based on that idea, for you to earn twice as much as what you're earning right now by becoming twice as valuable to the marketplace? Think about it. My answer to that question would be a yes. It's absolutely possible. In fact, you can become 3 times as valuable, 5 times, or even 10 times as valuable as you are right now. And as a result of that, earning many multiple times what you are currently earning as at the moment. Let me give you a real life example. Why do you think there's the reality that someone earns £15 per hour, which is a good income to earn, but then there's somebody else out there who's earning, say, £15,000 for the same 1 hour by, for example, delivering a speaking gig? They might go into a speaking gig somewhere and they get paid £15,000 for the same thing. It's still the same hour, but the difference is that the person who's doing that speaking gig and being paid 15 grand for their time is perceived, it's about perception, is perceived to deliver a lot more value than that person who's earning £15 or $15 for their time. Now, the person who's earning £15 for their time, it's not that they are not valuable to their family members or valuable to their friends or even valuable in the eyes of God. It's just that in the marketplace, and there are different marketplaces, what they bring to the world is currently perceived to be worth £15 as at the moment. And the good news for you and I is that on the back of this video, and I'm sharing this because this is about money making, this is not about watching entertainment or anything like that. I want you to take action. I'm going to do something from this video. The beauty from a video like this is that we know that we can shift our reality. We can go from being that person who today maybe makes £15 measured per hour, but creates value one day that might be worth £15,000 at a level, or in between that period, in between that, that number and the other number. You kind of get the point I'm making. The point is that that number can be changed for you. Your reality can be changed. Now, I want to give some real life examples, because I don't just like to talk about stuff without having some kind of lived experience of it. And I'll give you a real life example. And I'm not saying this to show off in any way, shape or form. I just want to use this as an illustration, just so you can understand that I'm speaking from reality. I did an event a while ago where I got invited by an organization, a company, to come and do some speaking to their employees. And I loved that topic because that topic was well in my area of expertise. And I went and I did that talk. And for the 2 hours that I spent doing that talk, I got paid a figure of around £9,000 to £10,000 for delivering a 2-hour session. Now, I'm saying that to say that once upon a time, and I remember this, once upon a time, I would have done anything to have made £9 in an hour. But over time, given where I was at that stage of my journey, and this was, a while ago, maybe at sometime last year, the perception of value has changed. And what has happened in that time? A lot has happened. These are some of the points that I hope to get across to you on today's video. So how do you become more valuable? There are two options. Let's say you said to yourself, okay, Ken, what you're saying sounds good. I want to become more valuable. What should I be doing right now? I would say there are two possible options. The very first option is that you do more work to do more work. So you put more hours in, you grind more, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's one option. The second option is that instead of putting more work into your job, your job, you put more work into yourself. Okay? Now, I know, based on my experience, that the thing that helped me have that transformation where many years ago I was begging for £9 an hour to a point where I'm being paid a certain level in the 4-figure mark to deliver a 1 to 2 hour talk. I know that the thing that's made a difference for me is that I invested a lot of my effort into this segment. I've been spending time and money, shall I say, in improving who I am. How can you go about doing that? The first thing you can do is to learn from personal experiences. Okay? Think back to your life experiences where you've had failures or successes or stumbles along the way. What have you learned from those experiences and how have you improved yourself? The second thing I'd say is to learn from other people's experiences. Yeah? Other people's experiences could be people who are around you, so friends and family. What have you learned from them? Who's making money? Who's smashing it in their lives right now? And what can you learn from that person? Or who has not been doing very well? And what can you observe in and around their lives that can help you to avoid the same direction that they've gone down? Yeah. So you can essentially learn from other people by learning about their failures and learning about their successes. This is the beauty of today. This video is a great example. You're learning from my experience and I'm learning from other people's experiences and bringing those experiences to you. So the first thing is learn from your personal experience, and the second is learn from other people's experiences. The third thing, and this is the third thing I'd say when it comes to how do you then create more value for yourself, is to start to create a vehicle that will then distribute the value that you're creating. And you see this in the second part of this video, in point 2, that I'm going to be sharing in a minute, that one way you can go about distributing the value you create is by creating your own website, for example, or becoming a part of a marketplace. Marketplaces include your eBays, your Amazons, your YouTubes, for example, your Spotifys, your Gumroads, your, all these platforms. They essentially mean that you have a way of distributing the value that you create. And by distributing that value, you're then able to extract that value, i.e. actually get paid for the value that you bring to the marketplace. All right, that's point one. Took a bit of a while, but it was necessary to set the foundation for today's video. Now, point two on how you can earn more by working less is to embrace the creator economy. Okay? Now, creators own two things, in my personal opinion, that help them to work less and make more money. When I say creators, I'm talking like, the creator economy more broadly, and I'll give you some specific examples. Actually, there are three things, not two things. The first thing I think that creators own that really set them apart is that creators have actually built a platform on which that platform acts as a form of distribution, as a form of a billboard or an ad. You know how when you're driving down a motorway and you might see an ad saying, oh, stop off at the next rest area for your McDonald's or your Starbucks or whatever, yeah? The analogy of the motorway is that a platform is effectively that motorway. But the beauty of the platform is that you can then place your billboards, your ads, and I'm sure whilst you're watching this video, an ad probably came up, served up by the YouTube platform. Simply because I'm creating content on this platform, they can then place those ads effectively, like at the motorway analogy, to therefore generate some income. And as a creator, I then earn a bit of that income. Yeah. In the same way, my channel that Mary and I run here on YouTube, acts as a form of a platform that acts in effect as a form of a billboard. So creators have that number one, which is a platform. Yeah. Creators have a second thing, which is that they might then create their own digital products. And I'll give you some real life examples from people you might know in a minute, like Taylor Swift and people like that. I'll give you an example in a minute. The third thing I think creators have to their power is a voice. Okay. When you add and you stack up these three core areas of a platform, and you stack up products, and you stack up the voice, because the voice speaks to trust and speaks to authority. When you bring these three core areas together, the creator economy has become a very powerful economy that I believe that you should be doing your best to be a part of in one way, shape, or another. Yeah, I have full experience of this because I'm living it right now. I'm actually speaking to you as a part of the creator economy, but I'm bringing to you the realities of how that might benefit you. So let me give you some real life examples. There are two kinds of creators that I see. First, there are probably more, but I'm going to focus on two on this video. First are your entertainers, and second are your educators. Yeah, let's look at the entertainers for a minute. And I'm just going to put this up on the screen as I'm looking at this. I googled up. I'm looking at my phone now. The world's 10 highest paid entertainers. Okay, this is on Forbes right now. You can go and read it. Published in 2023, only a few months ago. And as I'm scrolling, it says here, these top earning celebrities, musicians, and creators made more than $1.3 billion last year. Only last year, people. $1.3 billion. Now, I want you to ask yourself, what sets them apart from you? Yeah? Let's look at some examples, and I want you to see if you can spot a trend as I go through this, right? The first person I'm going to stop at as I look through this list is a guy called Sting. He made $210 million last year. It says here, the 17-time Grammy winner and former Police frontman, known for his hits including Every Breath You Take, Roxanne, pocketed $300 million before fees by selling, pay attention, his entire musical output, both solo and with the Police, to Universal Music Group in February. So, he had something that gave him leverage. He had his catalog and things like that. That's the first person. 210 million. And this one made, oh wow, I saw this one and I was like blown away. Tyler Perry, number 3 on the list, made last year alone $175 million US. This guy is super talented. It says here, Just call multi-hyphenate Perry a modern Renaissance man. The actor, director, writer, studio mogul had another lucrative year thanks to simultaneous income streams. Pay attention, people. Keyword, simultaneous income streams. From film, his BET TV shows, and sprawling production backlog he outrightly owns in Atlanta. So there's clearly a theme here of some ownership or of some simultaneous income streams and things that produce income. Notice, I'm talking here platforms, I'm talking here products. And of course, what they've not spoken about here is the voice that these people obviously have. And on top of that, they said this guy, Tyler Perry, he said here, in his second year among Forbes' top 10 highest paid entertainers, Perry is the list's sole billionaire with an estimated $1 billion fortune. And I can guarantee you this did not happen overnight. And this guy did not get here doing a 9-to-5 job. Not crushing 9-to-5 jobs. They have a place and everybody has to start somewhere. But I'm just putting it out there and reading in between the lines so that we are clear on what it takes to get to certain places in our lives, if that's what we are aiming for. Okay? So that's entertainers, yeah? Now let me look at educators. I want to give a real practical example. And again, I'm not really here to show off or anything. I just like to share because I think it's important to have transparency as a value. It's important to share things that I think really add something to the point that one's making, yeah? I'm going to use myself as an educator, yeah? I'm going to give another example. And again, like I said, I'm going to really stress this. I'm not trying to really get across any kind of show off or anything. I just want to make the point. I want to give an example of something that really stunned me about 2 years ago, yeah? About 2 years ago, we were working with two companies at the same time, and they happened to have crossed paths, unrelated entirely, but we're doing some work for them. We're creating some content on Instagram as well as on YouTube, and we had to attend an event and stuff like that as part of the agreement, yeah? But by the time we added up what we were being paid for all these little bits, oh, come to this event, tick, come to this, tick, an event, there were about 3 videos we had to make, and I think 2 Instagram posts or something like that. When we'd worked out what we were being paid, it worked out to be at around £27,500. Now, of course, that required work. We had to show up, we had to be there in person, we had to do various things, we had to create content, that kind of stuff. There was work to be done, don't get me wrong. But it did make me think for a moment that, wow, isn't it interesting how 27K is not far off the average annual income that someone might have earned in a whole year. Okay? Why was this possible? This was only possible because of what we built over time. Remember, things start very small. And thanks to the power of compounding, your authority, your platform, your voice, everything you bring along, the value you bring to the world, your expertise, everything builds up and compounds. Yeah? So I'm giving these practical examples to say that this is something that is real and something that everybody can tap into in some way. Let me give another practical example of an educator. In case you're thinking, oh, Ken, this is too out there for me. Let me give you a real life practical example. Somebody in our community at Financial Joy Academy who works in social care, a social worker, wanted to find a way to start earning more. Our advice to her was, why don't you create a blog using what you're good at? She created a blog about social work, yeah? Different tips, creating blog posts about 3 or 4 times a week even. She was writing for a whole year. Constant writing. We interviewed her to do a masterclass in our community at Financial Joy Academy about 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago to show us her data and show us what she's doing. She is earning at a peak of around $4,500 from ads on her blog alone per month. And this is by being completely anonymous on her blog, but showing and creating value. But what were the ingredients? She owns a platform, yeah? And on top of that, she's starting to create her own products on her platform and doing it anonymously. And by doing that, she's creating a bit of a voice for herself, okay? So I'm sharing that to say, This is something that's possible for those who are, by the way, interested in learning more about that masterclass. If you're in the FJR community, obviously head over and check it out. And if you want to learn more about that, if you're not in our community, our sister brand, I'll leave a link below and above for you to check out in your own time if you want to. The third way I'd go about doing this to earn more and work less is to create your own price. Okay? Now, isn't it interesting that it requires the same amount of energy to earn £500 as it does to earn £1,000? Have you ever thought about that? A lot of you watching right now, a lot of us, and I've been there, and that's why I know this, I'm speaking from experience, a lot of us underprice ourselves. And a lot of that comes from undervaluing ourselves. Yeah? You know you could probably make £700, £1,000 from a service you offer, but you pitch yourself at £150 or £100 because you're like, ooh, I'm not sure I can charge that much for my services. Am I really worth that much? Yeah? I'm putting that out there because you are leaving a lot of money on the table for the value that you bring to the world. This reminds me of a story actually. In 2017/2018, actually it's 2018, during the early parts of starting the Humble Penny, I remember someone reaching out to me to say, hey, I love what you're doing. I'd love you to offer me some coaching. At that time, I didn't really know what I'd charge for coaching. But I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to try and charge what like these magic circle law firms, like these partners, what they charge on their for their hourly rate. Back then, I was like, let me pitch myself on an hourly rate and see what they might offer. So I said, you know what? For one session of my time, which was about an hour, I would charge £400. The person who I offered that coaching to said yes without a hesitation. Took on the coaching, loved their experience, and it went well. That experience taught me something. The money really wasn't really the exciting part. What was more exciting was that I set my price. Okay? Question to you. Have you ever set your own price before? Yeah? Because if you've never set your own price before, then you're still operating from that place of an employee mindset. And I've talked about this before. I made a previous video to this, which I'll link to below and above for you to go and check out. So the very first thing to do when it comes to setting your own price, and I want to speak to that as an illustration, is I want to use a bit of a psychology, something I learned about that you can hopefully relate to. You know how when you go to a pharmacy, right? And let's say you want to go and buy paracetamol. And you get into the shop and it's, you're looking on the counter. You got two kinds of paracetamols. You got one that's 20p, right? You're like, yeah, that's an option. But you've also got a paracetamol that's £2. I'm going to ask you, and be honest with me now, if you saw a paracetamol that was 20p and one that was £2, which one of these would you buy? Yeah, I'm just putting it out there. Well, the psychology suggests that most people would go for this option. Why? Because most people perceive a bit more value for something that's priced a bit more. Don't ask me why. Now, for us, and I'm letting you in on this, you can learn something from this psychology. Because that means if you're currently at a point where in your life where you're not really pricing yourself properly, if you really wanted your equivalent of the £2 version in your life, i.e. you wanted to earn more, what you ought to do is actually create a 20p version. Because guess what? People will come and go, yeah, I know you've got this version in your life. I know you can offer me this service or this product at this price. But you know what? I want your premium version because I am a premium kind of person. There's a name for this in psychology and I can't think of it right now. But this is an interesting way to think about a way of actually creating your own price. Okay? And obviously increasing your price as a result of it. Point 4 is focus on the 20%. Now, I was reading the Financial Times recently and I saw a really interesting headline. Yeah, and I'll put this up on the screen for you guys to take a look at. The headline said, 20 S&P 500 stocks account for 90% of the Wall Street gains this year. Whew! 20 stocks make up 90% of the gains of the entire 500 companies of the S&P 500. Just pause for a moment and just think about that. And again, up on the screen is a split of those gains. You can see the top 5 stocks and then the next 15 and then the remainder. Do you know what? Thinking about this, I thought to myself, there's a big lesson we ought to learn from this, because beyond obviously the need to invest in the S&P 500, I wanted to just share something that I think will help you earn more, okay? And this is very practical. Let's say each day, I'm sure you've got your to-do list, you've got various things that come up in your life each day. Let's say you have a list of things. Let's say they're at your top 10. Top 10 list of things, to-do list. And that list is growing. Go 1, 2, 3, all the way to task 10. Yeah, you've got all these things you've got to do. One way I will try to look at this idea is the thing that the S&P 500 article revealed to me, and I knew this already, but I just connected the dots, is that the Pareto principle exists in and around our lives. What that was really saying in that article was that around 20% roughly or below, around 20% of the S&P 500 companies were making up about 80% of the gains of the S&P 500. What this tells us, and we can relate this to our day-to-day lives in a minute, what this tells us is that the 80-20 rule applies. So for example, on this YouTube channel, I know that if I go in and looked at all our video content, and we've made more than 400 videos on this channel, sometimes I even forget what videos I've made because there have been that many, I know that around 20% of all our videos, so 1 in 5 of all our videos, make up more than 80% of our entire traffic that comes to our channel. Yeah, because it's a rule of life. It's actually a universal rule. Yeah, that means that for you to make more money, around 20% of your to-do list every day will make up 80% of the results you're going to get to create that money. So that means each day when you make your task list, and this is what I do, I want you to ask yourself, which of my 10 things are most valuable? Which one should I really care about right now? Which one is my prime mover? What is giving me the most value and likely to help me achieve my goal? If your goal is making money or making more money, which of these? Is it this one and that one? If you identify your top 2, what I call your prime movers, you should make sure that the first thing you spend your time doing as part of paying yourself first in the day is to focus on those 2 things. And then once you've done those 2 things that will give you the most value when it comes to you generating an income, growing that income, you can then spend a bit of time focusing on everything else. That way you are giving yourself the best chance of focusing on that 20% rather than wasting a lot of your energy on the 80%. Now, the final thing I want to share today is the whole idea of creating a value ladder. So again, I want to illustrate. There are 2 different ways that people make money in the world more generally. Okay? So on one hand, you've got people who are creating low price products and then relying on lots of volume. Okay? That's one way. Yeah? Like my son and I were talking about it. He plays this game called Roblox, which just drives Mary and I completely bonkers. But in this game, they buy this thing called Robux. You can buy them from $2.99 or $4.99 or whatever. Small bits of money. And they rely on millions of gamers to then make lots of money from it. Yeah, and they do. They make that money. That's one way of making money. The second way of making money is to focus on high price, so high value, but low volume. So my question to you is, which method do you think is more likely to make you more money if you are somebody who's trying to make some extra money by earning more whilst working less? In my personal experience, if you've got limited resources, such as time, you're actually better off focusing on the high price, the premium, but with low volume. Because like this guy, imagine this guy here trying to sell lots and lots and lots of cheap things, huge volume of it. Yes, they'll sell some, but if you sold one thing that was premium, you probably make more money from that person with all their constant effort by selling lots of things of small price. Okay, so to illustrate to you this idea of the value ladder, I want to just show you real quick with my diagram, and I hope I hope this really speaks to you, because I think this is such an important concept to understand. Yeah. So on this side you've got value, and on this side you've got price. So in order for me to charge more for something, I have to offer more value. Yeah. So a very linear relationship. And the thing I wanted to explain here though is, and this will speak to you if you've already got a side hustle or a business, or you've got some products or something, or even if you haven't got any of those things and you want to create them one day, you have the aspiration, this will help you as well. Or if you just have a career, this will also help you. So imagine, I'm going to use a dentist analogy. Yeah, imagine I went to my dentist and my dentist says, Ken, you've got okay teeth, yeah, but I think you could do a lot better. Yeah, I think you could end up having Hollywood teeth one day. Really that Hollywood look with your teeth, where everything's just like really white and shiny with no gaps at all, like I've got. And the dentist says, do you know what? One thing I could do is, let's begin by actually doing some cleaning for you. Let's clean your teeth. Let's do like a random routine. So I go there, and dentist says, yeah, I'll offer you some tooth like cleaning and routine and check and stuff like that. So I do that, and I'm happy. I'm like, wow, this is great. And the dentist says to me, do you know what, Ken? Since you've been through that, I would love to actually suggest that you had some braces. Yes, I know you're an adult, but it's still good for you. It'd be good for your image if you had braces on. But it will cost you a bit more money. Yeah? It will cost you, I don't know how much these things cost. Maybe it costs you maybe £900 or £750 or whatever. This is a dentist's other offer. Yeah. I then say, do you know what? I've been thinking about doing these braces for ages. I will take on your braces offer. Yeah. And the dentist says, you know what? Go away, Ken, and come back to me. And along here, I want you to check in. Keep coming back for your checking. Yeah. Various checks. I come back after a few months of wearing these braces, and the dentist says, this is great. We've been able to close all those gaps for you, Ken. But you know what? It's created new gaps in your teeth, because when you close those gaps, there are now these bigger gaps left. So what I can do is offer you veneers for your teeth. These veneers are made in the mountains of wherever, and they're brilliant, and they will help your teeth look even more amazing. And I'm like, oh man, I really want the Hollywood smile. So I'll have the top tier version. What the dentist has walked me through is to offer me more value, but also offer me more price. Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I want more value, so therefore I'm happy to pay more. But the key thing I wanted to establish here when it comes to making more money, and you probably need a bigger session for this to understand this fully, but hopefully this has made sense, is that there is a mechanism that the dentist used to get me from here to here and to here. Yeah? So if I was someone who wanted to work less and earn more, I would create a blend between my low price products and my high value products by creating a mechanism like this, effectively a value ladder, a system, a sales system. That means that somebody, every single customer that comes across my products, my services, whatever I offer, whatever you offer, will end up, a percentage of them will end up here purchasing my high value products at a higher price, or some might just purchase the low value products. But either way, this blend of high value and low value serves to help me make more money by working less over time. Guys, I hope you've really enjoyed this session. I've been very practical, as I promised at the very beginning of this video. And I hope you've taken away something, even if it's one thing, that you can apply to your own life today. My entire goal for making this video is to shift your mindset, to shift the core belief you have in yourself that you cannot earn more, or that you need to always swap your time for money. This entire video is really to expose you to the mindset that this is all about being smarter with the resources we have in order for us to create the opportunities and the value that then makes us more money. I hope this video really spoke to you. If it really did, again, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and support our channel. And let's get that percentage down to something like 40% or even lower of people who are currently watching every single day or every week, but currently unsubscribed. Please support our channel by subscribing. Guys, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which one of the 5 ideas I shared today will you take away and actually do something with? Please jump in the comments and let me know. And if you've got any questions related to today's video, any of the ideas I shared today, again, I'll be in the comments after this video, making sure I respond to your questions. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. And as always, in all things, be thankful and seek joy. Take care, people. Bye for now.